Very good morning to you and welcome to our special edition of Today. Well, the moment has finally happened. Just over an hour ago, the world finally got a glimpse of the brand new Prince of Cambridge, with Kate and William taking their new son home. So joining us now is Layla McKinnon, who is outside the hospital. Peter Stefanovic is at Kensington Palace and Lizzie Pearl is at Buckingham Palace. So let's start with you, Layla. Kate looked absolutely fantastic. William completely glowing and loving holding his little son, and the baby is quite simply beautiful.
Good morning, Lisa. What a beautiful story to wake up to, and what a lovely family. They were overjoyed, and the thunderous applause and cheering that went around the hospital when they came out was delightful too. As you said, a gorgeous little prince and two happy parents. Very humbled too. After 27 hours in the hospital, Kate came out just glowing, looking divine, and said, you know, as any parent who has had a baby would know, it's very emotional. She's not making herself out to be anything special, but the crowd of people outside the hospital would suggest otherwise. The baby asleep, first of all in his mother's arms and then his father's arms. And what an adorable little tyke. His little fingers emerging from the swaddling. He wasn't asleep, but he was very well behaved, although Prince William had a few words to say about him. Here's what they said.
Well, he's got a good pair of lungs on him, that's for sure. He's a big boy, he's quite heavy, but we're still working on a name, so we'll have that as soon as we can. But it's the first time we've seen him, really, so having a proper chance to catch up and see him. Very emotional.
Yeah, it's very emotional. It's such a special time. I think any parent, I think, will probably sort of know what this feeling feels like. So it's
very special. It was, and I'll remind him of his tardiness when he's a bit older, because I know how long you've all been sat out here, so hopefully the hospital and you guys can all go back to normal now and we can look after him. So he's got her looks, thankfully.
No, I'm not sure about that.
Wait and see, Peter, wait and see. Oh, we've done that already.
Yes, he's done the first now already.
It's good.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
She's got way more than me, thank God. Thanks a lot, thank you.
A very humble and happy Prince William. It's wonderful to see him after all the tragedy he's had in his life. Finally married with a baby, a little family heading home to Kensington Palace. I know that people are interested always in what Kate has to wear. It was a Jenny Packen number. She was wearing her wedges and, of course, her signature wonderful blow wave, the greatest head of hair in the country. And just looking divine, a bit of a nod too, Lisa, to Princess Diana. She was wearing more of an 80s maternity smock, but both in polka dots. Maybe a design nod to her, maybe a coincidence. But then the royal couple went back into the hospital. Unlike Princess Diana, they put the baby in a baby seat, brought it out, put the little baby in the car and drove off just like a normal family. They always try and give the impression that they're a normal family caught up in exceptional circumstances. Now let's move to the grandparents. Both sets of grandparents came. Of course, the step-grandmother Camilla, granddad Charles and the Middletons. The Middletons arrived in a taxi, much to everybody's surprise and delight. And Charles and Camilla arrived, and this is what they had to say when they left.
How is the baby boy, sir? Marvellous.
You wait and see. You'll see in a minute.
He's absolutely beautiful. They're both doing really well, and we're so thrilled.
How are the parents doing?
Fabulously.
What was that first couple like?
Amazing. It's all coming back.
Have you given them a suggestion for name?
Absolutely not. But thank you.
Yes, a very happy pair of grandparents there. No word yet on when the little Prince Cambridge will be meeting his great-grandmother. That's the Queen to you and I, but it will be before Friday when she will head off to her holiday at Balmoral in Scotland, and the couple will be left to their own devices. William on paternity leave for the next 2 weeks, and they'll be learning all about nappies and sleepless nights.
Indeed. You can only imagine that this little one's already got brownie points with the Queen, given that she's heading off on holidays, as you say, on Friday. Thank you, Layla. We'll cross back to you shortly. But now let's go to Pete, who is at Kensington Palace. Have they arrived yet, Pete?
They have, yeah. It's all happening here at the moment. Probably around about 45 minutes to an hour ago, the Cambridges arrived here. It's just up the road from St Mary's Hospital in Paddington, so it didn't really take them that long. It was probably only about a 10-minute drive. We followed them here and they've arrived. So now they're enjoying themselves, probably resting, no doubt. This is home for the Cambridges, will be for at least the next couple of days anyway. And it's suggested at this point that they'll head to Bucklebury after that, which is the home of the Middletons. So the Duchess of Cambridge and the Duke will head down there and with their new baby boy, of course, no doubt get some help and support from Carol and Michael Middleton. So they'll stay there for the foreseeable future because the Duke of Cambridge has 2 weeks paternity leave. So they will all be together for the next 2 weeks at least before he has to go to work again. And there is also some suggestions at this point that they may head to Balmoral up in Scotland, which is where the Queen is going for her holidays starting at the end of this week too. That will suit them. It'll suit the new family. They know that there is a lot of attention on them at the moment, and security is very tight up there too. So no doubt that will appeal to them.
It's Tuesday evening there at the moment, Pete, and the Queen, as we heard, is heading off on her holiday on Friday. Is she going to meet the little prince in the meantime?
She wants to. She just hasn't had time yet, you know. She's still a very busy woman. She was out on doing her duties today, and she was overheard talking to one person that she was absolutely thrilled with the news, as she would be, but she hasn't had any FaceTime with her newest great-grandchild just yet. But she is hoping, no doubt, that that will happen at some point over the next couple of days because she does want to go on her holidays. We know that last week when she was up in the Lakes District, up in the northwest of England, she was overheard talking to a lady and says, I hope she does hurry up with the birth because I do want to go on my holidays. So that is approaching very quickly. And as I said, she may get even more time with her newest great-grandchild too out on her holidays if the Cambridges do end up going up there and joining her. Now, we've been talking all day, even for the last 24 hours, about what the possible name of Prince Cambridge is going to be. So according to the bookies, now this does change quite a bit, but the latest odds, we've got George. A lot of talk about George at the moment. The $3.25 favourite at the moment, followed by James. He is at 5 to 1. Arthur, 9 to 1. Alexander, $10 to 1. Louis, 10 to 1. And also Henry, a little bit longer, at 17 to 1 at this stage.
OK, we've got a tenner on Louis here, Pete. Don't you worry about that. We reckon it's going to shoot to the top of the list very shortly. We'll find out, though, in the days to come. But for now, thank you very much for that. We're going now to Lizzie Pearl, who is at Buckingham Palace. What's the mood like in London today, Lizzie?
Oh, Lisa, it's just such a happy place at the moment. Everybody loves a baby and everybody loves a royal baby just that little bit more. And last night, Buckingham Palace really was the centre for celebrations. It was just on around 24 hours ago that we found out the little prince was here, and the crowds flocked to the hospital, then they flocked here to the palace, and the champagne corks were popping, and they really couldn't get enough of it. The palace has been a centre for these celebrations for much of the day, starting with the changing of the guard this morning, and we saw the Queen's Guardsmen in the forecourt of Buckingham Palace there breaking into a little chipper rendition of congratulations, which was a little bit of a break with tradition, but the crowd seemed to love it. Later in the day, the bells of Westminster Abbey played for 3 hours. hours. We're told it was a full peal, and that actually 3 members of the team there ringing the bells were there 31 years ago in 1982 and rang the bells to welcome Prince William to the world. So a lovely little tradition there. And it didn't stop there. We had some gun salutes later on in the afternoon. A 41 gun salute in Green Park, a 62 gun salute on the gun wharf there at the Tower of London. And the gun salute is something that happens when a prince or princess is born. Doesn't matter which order of succession they are, and the last one we had was back in 1990 when Princess Eugenie was born. So the palace is still a very popular place to be at the moment. The crowd is still gathering around those gates, as it has for much of the day. Everyone wanting to have a look at that easel which contains the birth details of this little Prince of Cambridge. The one thing that is not on the easel, though, is the name, and as we heard from Prince William a short time ago, he and Kate are still working on it. Lisa.
OK, everybody's saying they've had 9 months to do it, but this is a science, and everybody's just got to chill a little bit.